Book 3. The Council of the Ages. Chapter 9. Part 1. Once the square was liberated from the curse and, seeing that no one claimed it, Arian began to rebuild the great temple with the help of new devotees. Arian's life. Author, Sacerdosa Salmeron. Surely the half-orc had forgotten that Arian was now the high priestess of Elaban and that she was to oversee the rebuilding and repopulation of the ancient cursed city. The journey lasted just over 3 weeks to finally see the incredible silhouettes of the buildings of Turkheimak. Unlike the previous visit, the port had some activity with a few boats anchored at its docks. When they docked, they were greeted by all the settlers of the city, most of them priests and novices dedicated to re-establishing the cult of Elaban. They all knelt at the arrival of the high priestess. Anthera was also waiting for them there with Arian's daughter, who ran to her parents to hug them. Arian's assistant also acted as a guide to the city. Most of Turkheimak remained in ruins despite the great progress made in its reconstruction. The prolonged time under the curse and the continuous looting suffered made it difficult to recover it quickly. In addition, it was a very large city and the settlers were still few. About the Stufos, what little they had explored in the underground was done by the mercenaries under the command of Aris, and it seemed that the reptiles had left the place, at least for the moment. As a precaution, Aris demolished the lower passages and galleries to avoid an attack by these heartless reptiles in the future. As the elves had shown no interest in reclaiming their ancient kingdom, the place was left in the hands of Arian and his followers, although they were not very numerous but were a close-knit community. Little by little, more people came to be part of the community that intended to repopulate Turkheimak and worship Elaban. Many of the new settlers escaped from the continuous wars or the abuses of the monarchs in other kingdoms. Here they found peace and tolerance to their way of life. Word was spreading throughout Shanaris and more people were arriving in search of a place to live peacefully. Certainly, taking advantage of this climate of tolerance, there had been an attempt to unite people who had problems with the law, some criminals and looters, who sought to find some treasure in the ruins. They pretended to be devout colonists and then went about their business. Arian was totally inflexible with them. Banishment or death was the punishment for using Elaban's hospitality for his own interests. They did not ask for excessive devotion to the settlers, only at least to help the community and not break the laws. The activity was mainly concentrated around the Great Temple where the Great Jewel, the Triumph of Elaban, was located. With effort they managed to restore the water supply, and now the jewel was giving the water its healing properties. It was the great attraction of the place, but Arian had ordered that it be used with the utmost care. Not everyone deserved the help of the priests. The gold and power of the pilgrims was not the most important thing. Arian did not want to fall into the ancient mistakes that caused the fall of the order. In fact, although the healing pond was fully restored and kept secret from almost all the colonists, only priests consecrated by Arian herself and never novices entered the place. They arrived at the grand sanctuary, its interior brighter than on their last visit, light being the key to discovering the rich ornamentation and glyphs chiseled into the walls. All the members of the order knelt down as they saw Arian enter the great temple, the jewel lit up. He smiled at them all and greeted them by name, introducing him to the new novices who aspired to be priests of Elaban. A young priestess would show her newborn daughter, one of the firstborn of Turkheimak. She would later talk to her. Once everyone was greeted, the group walked to the chambers inside the temple, not a trace of the damned. The basements of the temple were a prodigy, with very large rooms and where there were skylights through which the sunlight entered. Agnoruk was led to his room, a large room with a large fountain, through which in a magical way sunlight entered, illuminating the room. Paulana and Tanya were assigned to the same room since they were under the care of the half-orc and there was plenty of room. Agnoruk was looking closely at the glyphs in the room, all of them very promising. Hopefully the city's large library could be visited. Tomorrow I'd ask Arian for a permit. Surely Kush would accompany him without a doubt. A novice told them that just at sunset they would go up to the hall of the great temple. His two companions were not amused by that idea since they wanted to rest, but Agnoruk called their attention. Despite the fatigue they had to go up, surely Arian wanted to teach them something. *******.